As chair of the Finance Committee, I find that due to the state of emergency declared by the governor as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, and in accordance with the governor's emergency order number 12, pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04 and subsequent extensions, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. Please note that there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to this meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. However, in accordance with the emergency order, I am confirming, first, that we are providing public access to the meeting by telephone, with additional access possibilities by video or other electronic means. To access Zoom, please refer to the agenda or the city's website for the meeting link. To join by phone, dial 1-929-205-6099. The meeting ID is 829-8463-2861, and the passcode is 119696. The public may also view the meeting via Channel 16. We previously gave notice to the public of the necessary information for accessing the meeting through public postings. Instructions have also been provided on the City of Nashua's website at www.nashuanh.gov and publicly noticed at City Hall and the Nashua Public Library. If anybody has a problem accessing the meeting via phone or Channel 16, please call 603-821-2049 and they will help you connect. In the event the public is unable to access the meeting via the methods I have already mentioned, the meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled. Please note that all votes that are taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call vote. Let's start the meeting by taking a roll call attendance. When each member states their presence, please also state whether there is anyone in the room with you during the meeting, which is required under the right to know law. So could the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Patricia Klee.
I am here, I'm alone, and I can hear everything.
Alderwoman Elizabeth Liu.
I'm here, I can hear you. And I'm present.
The clerk, I'm present, I can hear everyone, and I'm in the room alone. Alderwoman at large, Shoshana Kelly.
I'm here, I can hear everyone, and I am alone.
Alderman at large, Brandon Michael Laws.
I'm here, I can hear you, and I'm alone.
Alderman at large, Michael B. O'Brien, Sr.
I am present, I can hear you, and I am alone.
And Mayor Jim Donches.
I'm here and I'm alone in the room. All right, the first item is public comment. Do we have any members of the public who would like to speak to the committee? I don't see anyone. Now, we do have a non-public session scheduled tonight, and
yep.
Economic Director Tim Cummings has a scheduling conflict, and therefore we'd like to take the non-public session first before we get to the items that appear specifically on the agenda.
Okay.
So who's got the motion to go into?
I do. As far as I know, I do.
Gathright.
Yeah. Mr. Mayor, I motion that the Finance Committee go into a non-public session by roll call pursuant to RSA 91-A:3(2). 1, consideration of legal advice provided by legal counsel, either in writing or orally, to one or more members of the public body, even where legal counsel is not present, by roll call. And I also need a second for that.
I see a second from Alderman Laws.
Okay.
Any discussion? Could you, Madam Clerk, please call the roll?
Yes. Alderman Klee.
Yes, sorry.
Alderwoman Liu.
Yes, and I also want to point out that I am alone. I forgot to mention that.
Thank you.
Clerk says yes. Thank you. Alderwoman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes.
and Mayor Dodges.
Yes. Now, this is going to create a little bit of a logistical problem. All right, so we're back to the regular order of the agenda. There's
And the time, 7:21.
7:21. There's a communication from Kelly Parkinson, Purchasing Manager. Alderman Harriet Gathright.
I motion to accept, placed on file, and award the lease for 8 copiers with U.S. Bank and maintenance agreement with Conway Technology Group in the total amount of $93,395 over 5 years. Funding will be through Police Department account 54828, photocopier lease, and account 54421, copier maintenance contracts by roll call.
All right, so we have Ms. Smith from the Police Department. The explanation is pretty self-evident, but do you have anything you'd like to add, Ms. Smith?
Thank you, Mayor Donches. I don't have anything to add, just to answer any questions if there are any.
Any questions for Ms. Smith? I don't see anything. Could you please call the roll, Madam Clerk?
Yeah. Alderman Clee,
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou,
Yes.
clerk says yes. Alderman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes.
and Mayor Dodges.
Yes. Motion passes. Now I have another communication from Kelly Parkinson, Purchasing Manager. Alderman Harriet Gathright.
I motion to accept, placed on file, and approve the contract amendment to the existing 5-year contract for transit operations with First Transit in the amount of $372,057. Funding will be through 55690, regular transportation services by roll call.
And we have Ms. Marchant, who's going to address this item.
Yes, thank you, Sarah Marchant, Community Development Director, here before you tonight to talk about this contract. Essentially, the logistics and industry itself has changed very significantly, especially in the past year with COVID. But there has been a significant decrease in CDL drivers throughout the region, and we have seen both our school buses and bus systems everywhere struggling to hire, maintain, and be able to keep enough staffing in place. Our this contract has both a fixed rate and variable rates in it to cover, fixed rates cover all your normal operations running, management, HR, the safety training, drug and alcohol, the regular day-to-day, no matter what costs. The variable costs are based upon miles and hours of operations. And so these costs are related to the actual hours on the road for both the fixed route and paratransit services. The paratransit, which is highly variable in its hours, but generally about 40% of all the hours we have, about 65% of all the hours we have are fixed route, and 35 to 40 are paratransit. And those hours, regardless of how many people are necessarily there, are something we pay an hourly rate to. And so in working with First Transit on a pretty massive driver shortage and their ability to continue to maintain operations, we have, we're posing a renegotiated contract before you tonight, which averages a little over about $100,000 a year for the next 3 years in increased, 3.5 years in increased costs to be able to cover the operations going forward. I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
And as I understand it, you have the money in your budget to cover the cost for fiscal 21.
That is true. Thank you. Yes, Mayor. COVID, the transit agency itself, because of the kind of dire situation nationwide, was able to receive some additional COVID funds from the federal government, and we will use those funds to cover the additional funding in this year's budget.
Discussion or questions?
I have a couple of questions, please.
Alderwoman Lou, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Donches. through you to Director Marchant, are these bus services for both? Are they for the school and the public transport? Or
No,
just
these are only for public transportation. The school district has a separate contract with First Student, which is a sister company to First Transit, but it is an entirely separate set of drivers, management contract entirely. This is simply for the transit system.
And thank you. And just to follow up to that, are we utilizing them 100% of the original contract? Or have we reduced our routes?
It's a great question. We have certainly reduced our routes in a whole bunch of different ways over the past 6 months to a year. At this point in time, we went from a no fixed route service, only paratransit service. We rolled out slowly, coming back with the fixed routes. We've done several levels of pilots, is what we've called them. And actually, as we speak right now, there's a public hearing going on for the pilot for our third level pilot system, which we'd actually like to put in place as the permanent system going back, which has a reduced number of routes while trying to still most effectively serve our community. So we are actively, as always, looking at the number of bus stops, looking at ridership, who's going where and how we can be most efficient. And so this new service that we plan to roll out permanently, if we don't get negative feedback tonight, is a new but reduced service, which is reducing the overall hours, bringing this contract down going forward. We've also seen a reduction overall in paratransit hours, mainly, not necessarily in Nashua, but mainly in the service that we provide to, on a contract fee basis to both Merrimack and Hudson, and also SBTC, which would be more of our larger surrounding region.
So if I could just follow up to that.
Yes.
Thank you. So Director Marchant, it sounds like you're saying that even though they're giving us less, but you do feel that this is a reasonable increase in what we pay them?
So we only pay them based on the hours they work. For this rate that's changing is an hourly rate. So if we have drivers in the buses driving, we will pay them these variable costs, these hourly rates. If we are not driving as much, if we are not serving, say, SBTC, Hudson, and Merrimack as much, then we will be paying out less every single month. I do think that these costs are warranted and reasonable. And if service remains low, then we will expend less than anticipated.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all set.
Anyone else? Alderwoman Clee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, Mr. Mayor, I have a question for Director Marchant. These costs, or the rate, and so as you're referring to as a variable rate, you said there's enough money in the budget you feel for 2021. You expect these to go forward? I think I heard you say that you're trying to do cost savings by readjusting the bus schedules and looking at who's being picked up and so on. So maybe that would offset it in future years. But so you expect this cost to be an ongoing as years go on. Is that correct? It's not going to go down after this COVID and so on.
No. So this is a revision of a 5-year contract. There's 3.5 years remaining. We are expecting the cost to go up over the next 3.5 years. Right now, the city puts in about $425,000 of a little over a $3 million budget annually to run the transit system. So I know next year is going to be a tight budget. We will do everything we can, but there is a likelihood that we'll be looking for more funds next year to help cover these additional costs.
Thank you. That was my only question, Mr. Mayor. I know, shocking, but.
Alderwoman Liu.
Thank you. Director Marchant, through you to Director Marchant. So did you mean that the city contributes $425 and the rest of it comes from the state or federal?
And public-private partnerships, advertising revenue. Yes, but as many sources as we can find. Yes.
Right. So that's great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mayor Box also. Anyone else? Questions? Comments? All right. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Alderman Clee,
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou,
Yes.
clerk says yes, Alderwoman Kelly,
Alderwoman Kelly.
I don't see her.
Maybe
she dropped off you.
her internet
Alderman-
might be a problem.
Yeah. Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes.
and Mayor Donches.
Yes. Motion passes. Another item from Kelly Parkinson, Purchasing Manager, Alderman Harriet Gathright.
Motion to accept, placed on file, and award the Riverfront Lighting Installation Project to Guardian Energy Management in the amount of $607,781, including $105,439 for the Cotton Transfer Bridge and $502,342 for the north side of the Riverfront Walk. Funding will be through account 55699, other contractor services, 81100 capital improvements, and 53999 other professional services by roll call.
Ms. Marchant?
Good evening again. Thank you so much. Very excited to bring you this piece of Riverfront Master Plan. So this was one of the big things that was asked for from the 2017 Riverfront Master Plan was better lighting for safety and also to interest people and get them to be able to feel comfortable and safe walking through our riverfront. And so we focused first on areas that are not going to be disturbed by the upcoming construction and major modifications that are happening that Director Cummings is leading with VHB, some of those design studies. So what is before you tonight is riverfront lighting for the north side from around the Greeley House over to the Cotton Transfer Bridge and the Cotton Transfer Bridge. And the Cotton Transfer Bridge will be, all the lighting is LED, but it is an up enhancement lighting that should also help kind of pull your eye down the river from Main Street. This is all designed to complement the fountains that are running and that have had such great success with events such as the kayakers, the Naked Kayakers events. And so these are the kind of things that we are very happy that the community asked for, that we're able to be bringing forward. Happy to answer any questions you have.
Alderwoman Clee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to say that how excited I am about this as well. And Mr. Mayor, I know that you mentioned it at your coffee with the mayor on yesterday, and it is exciting to be able to see those bridges lit up. It's nice to see that we're using LED to save the overall cost and so on. Director Marchant, you mentioned the bridge, the Cotton Mill Bridge and so on, so that we don't disturb the other side where work is being done and so on. But the eventual plan will be to expand the lighting on all sides of the Main Street Bridge. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes, and both the north and south side. The design that the city had commissioned last summer and was completed, which we got quite a bit of community feedback on, was to design the lighting as a comprehensive plan. We are only implementing a piece of that plan, but that plan has been designed. It's being worked into all of the ongoing design work that is happening. And as the rest of these areas get built out, the lighting will be incorporated into those as well.
And I look forward to seeing it all done. Thank you so much.
Other comments? Alderwoman Lou.
Thank you, Mayor Donches. Through you to Ms. Marchant, or Director Marchant, I should say. I'm not sure where the Cotton Transfer Bridge is. Is that the bridge that allows pedestrians to go across from at the Cotton Building from one side?
That is correct.
Okay. So, and also the up enhancement lighting. That's because I think I read it. Does that go upward? Is that add to light pollution, or
Yeah.
is or
Great
not?
question. So no, so the up enhancement lighting is specifically to cover the sculptures that exist along the trail. And they are inset flat in the ground, and they do have guards on them. They are specifically designed that their lumens, they do go up and they do cover the sculpture, but they do not go and point straight up in the sky, and they do not go up to be still shedding light 50 feet in the air. They are designed to, I don't want to say fully comply with the dark skies ordinance, because that is a very restrictive ordinance, but to be as compliant as possible with that. And so they are designed to highlight our sculptures, but not to just point to the sky and cause light pollution.
All right, thank you. Just a follow-up, if I could.
Yes.
Thank you. Am I correct? Are we trying to comply with the night
Dark skies.
Yeah.
The city has not adopted that per se, but it is generally something we strive for.
Okay.
And we have general requirements that are similar in our site plan land use standards.
Okay. And the only other thing I wanted to ask you is, are we actually putting lighting on private property with the Cotton Bridge?
We are only putting lighting on private property in areas we have existing easements.
Okay.
So we own the bridge, and some of the areas that we own, that we will be putting lighting. There are easements that the city has the right to over them.
Thank you. I'm all set.
Anyone else? Could the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Clee,
Yes.
Alderwoman Lil.
Yes.
Clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly, is she back? Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes.
and Mayor Donches.
Yes. Motion passes. Thank you very much. We now have another item from Kelly Parkinson, Purchasing Manager. Alderman Harriet Gathright.
A motion to accept, placed on file, and approve the purchase of a 2020 Ford F-350 XL four-wheel drive cab pickup truck for the Park and Recreation Department from MHQ Vehicles, Equipment and Gear in the amount of $39,060. Funding will be through the Capital Equipment Reserve Fund, SURF, by roll call.
Now, is there anyone here from the Parks Department on this? I don't believe so. It's pretty self-evident, but Ms. Parkinson, do you have anything to add?
I can answer any questions, but it is pretty self-evident. It's a replacement of a vehicle that was in an accident.
Okay. Discussion, questions? Excuse me. Could you please call the roll?
Alderman Clee,
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou.
Yes.
Clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly, not back yet. Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes.
and Mayor Donches.
Yes, motion passes. Final communication from Ms. Parkinson. Alderman Harriet Gathright.
A motion to accept, place on file, and approve the annual software maintenance required for the continued operation of Highland on Base through Highland Software in the amount of $50,154,047. Funding will be through account 5407 software maintenance by roll call.
All right, and I believe we have Director Kim Kleiner here to talk about the software.
Is this 50 million or 50,000?
50,000.
Yeah, okay. I'm looking for the dot, the period. I got it. 50,000. Sorry, folks.
The software.
Ms. Kleiner, are you on?
Yes, I am, Mayor.
Okay.
Excuse me. So the information that was provided in your packet, this is for Highland On Base software, and it's an annual software maintenance. Highland On Base is a management software that we use. It is commonly known to house all of our accounts payable invoices and finance documents. As you will see, it is something that we annually fund, and the Highland On Base is extremely important to our finance group. I can answer any questions.
All right, thank you. Any questions or comments from any members of the committee? Alderwoman Lou.
Thank you. I just noticed, because I have never heard the name, but you said we pay it once a year?
Yes, it's an annual fee.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Anyone else? Could you please call the roll?
Alderman Clee,
Yes.
Alderwoman Lou,
Yes.
clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien, and Mayor Dodges.
Yes, motion passes. All right, we're on to unfinished business. We have none. New business resolutions, we have none. New business ordinances, we have none. Record of expenditures.
I motion, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, please.
I motion that the Finance Committee has complied with the city charter and ordinance pertaining to the record of expenditures for the period from October 2nd, 2020 to October 15th, 2020 by roll call.
Any discussion, questions? Could you please call the roll?
Alderman Clee,
Yes.
Alderwoman Lowe,
Yes.
clerk says yes. Alderwoman Kelly,
Yes.
Alderman Laws,
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes.
and Mayor Dodges.
Yes. Motion passes and the record of expenditures is approved. General discussion. Does anybody have items of general discussion? Public comment. Any members of the public wish to address the committee? I don't see anyone. Remarks by aldermen. Do any aldermen have remarks that they'd like to make? If not, Alderwoman Clee.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I motion to, oh my God, I'm blanking here. I motion to recess this,
Adjourn.
oh gosh,
Adjourn.
adjourn the meeting. Thank you so much.
So the
I had it
motion
right in front
by
of me, can't read it.
Alderwoman Clee is to adjourn. Could you please call the roll?
Alderman Clee,
Yes.
Alderwoman Lowe,
Yes, and we were so expedient that I think that's what threw you, Alderman Clee.
I had it in
Clerk
front of me,
says
so I had no
yes.
excuse.
Alderwoman Kelly,
Do we have another member of the committee here?
We do. We do. He also votes to adjourn.
all
Okay.
right.
So we have 2 votes there.
Alderman Laws,
Mine doesn't count, but
Alderman O'Brien,
Yes.
and Mayor Dodges.
Yes, and the motion passes and the meeting is adjourned at 7:44 p.m.
Good night, everyone.